What's going on, everyone? It's Corey here from the Breakevens, giving you another video today. Today is my final team reveal. So we've done one for January, February, and it's now March time. We're just a couple days away when I'm recording this. I think we're 5 days away. It's been recorded on the Sunday, so things could change, but this is mainly the structure I'm going to go for, and I'll go through everything, what could change, who could come in, who could leave the side. So I'll go through all of that. But before we do that, don't forget we have the Breakevens Unlimited group. 116 people in there, which is fantastic. We're trying to hit 150 people in there though, so if you want to join, the code is 432856. Again, 432856. You join, get your friends, your family, whoever, send it to all your workmates. Let's try and get 150 people in by round 1. And you can find us on Twitter at BreakevensPod. We've got 386 followers over there. We're trying to hit 500. So if you have Twitter and you want to keep up with our videos and all the content and polls and stuff that we're putting out there, give us a follow. We appreciate it. And on YouTube, we're trying to hit 200 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button. We've got a new logo, new header, and a new intro for our videos. We've ramped it up, so hopefully you like that. And of course, subscribing helps us out dearly, and we appreciate all the help and support that everyone has given us. So with that all done and dusted out the way, here is my team. Alright, so I've started with a clean slate here. As always, I'll just talk you through each of my selections. So my D1, I've had Tom Stewart in every team I've had. It has never really gone out. I said he'll never be leaving my side, and he's left. I'm saving $400 here. I'm going Sam Doherty. Doherty looked great in the preseason game, got plenty of the pill, distributing as always, running, getting those meters gained. Didn't get that midfield time that we thought, but it doesn't matter with Doherty. He's super consistent, and he looked like he had a good role. That's the main thing that I was looking for, was role. So Doherty in at D1. The reason I've gone off Stewart is I think Hawthorn and Sydney, who he plays in the first 6 rounds, they'll tag him. Hawthorn have definitely come out and said that they're going to tag, hence they tagged Dacos in the preseason game. And Clark from Sydney kept Stewart pretty quiet last year. So I think I can probably get Stewart for about 40 to 50k less, around that round 6-7 mark. So I'm going to aim to get him in pretty quickly and early, and then that's when he starts to play a few more games at GMHBA as well. So it's a nice little upgrade target for me if he goes down to that 550. Second, I've had Nick Dacos in. He was another one who I said really isn't going to leave, but I've paid up couple grand for Jordan Ridley. Seems to be that central defender. He has that role that 2 years ago he was averaging about 125 in the first 5-6 rounds. Seems to have that back. I'm not too worried about him playing a key position role, as long as there's no big injuries, because their depth down there seems a bit more solid. So he might have a couple games during the season where it might go a bit lower, but apart from that, I think he can easily average 100 to 110. So I've got Jordan Ridley in there, and I don't think he's going to move. Up next, D3, we've got Elliot Yeo. He's been in my team for a while. And I've recently taken him out, but he's come back in. He's like a boomerang. He just keeps coming back. He looked to have a good role which is again what I was looking for. What was his role? He didn't really seem to get out of second gear. I think he was just trying to get through the game itself. And I think when season comes, he's going to be a bit more hungry. He's going to get the ball a lot more tackles, and I think he's going to be that big cash generation guy for us in defence. And he could easily be a keeper if he stays fit. He can easily go that 100 to 110. So he could be a keeper. I'm not planning on keeping him, but if he proves me wrong otherwise, he can stay in there for as long as he wants. Next, someone who I haven't really spoken about this preseason, I sort of forgot he existed, but it's Liam Jones. Looked to have a great role as in that intercept marker. Yes, he's playing key position, but he just looked good. It looked like he hadn't been out of the system for a year. Strong intercept marks. He likes to use the ball. He's a good user of the ball. He uses his foot more than not. And as we know with Stewart and Ridley, if you can get those intercept marks, it's Supercoach gold. So I'm not planning on Jones scoring 90s, 100s. I'm looking for a 70 to 75 average. That way you can make 150k, get close to that 400k mark, and then it's an easy rookie one down, and then Jones up to someone who has dropped in price, like a possible Stewart or a Sisley or a Dawson there, of the big three I'm trying to target early on. So yeah, he's just there to do a job for me. He's cheaper price, and looks like he's got that defender spot, so he shouldn't be too much of a rotation risk. As we move next, someone who hasn't left my side for a while, that's Ruben Jinby. Great role. He looks like someone who West Coast will be happy to have for a long time. He's strong. He has the football smarts. He goes at it. He can play midfield. He can play in defence. He's best 22. What I'm looking for with my rookies are 70 to 75 average on field. They're going to make 150, 200k, depending if they have big games or if they have lower games. That could fluctuate, obviously, but I'm looking for a solid 70 average, and I think Jinby can definitely do that, and that's why he has not left my side. And the way things are looking, you got to pay up for rookies, it seems. So it's a bit more mid-price madness this year. It looks like the meta. So Jinby 171k, he is in there. Next, to round off my defensive midfield, I've got Charlie Constable there, 123k. Looks to have a great role, taking kickouts, playing off that halfback, running, using the ball. The thing I like about Constable, and I think Stewie Jew likes as well, is he takes on that inside kick. He's very aggressive and attacking with his kicks, and if he hits the target, it can generate their counter run, and that they can score from it. So he could have a scoring involvement and get more points there. But he had 10 turnovers in the practice game, which obviously dropped down his scoring, but he's not going to do that every game. You'd think he'd clean that up most games. So you're looking at an extra 10 points, 10 to 15 points maybe, if he hits those kicks. So again, a 70 average would be great. He could definitely go higher, but he's going to make us some money. The only thing I'm worried about is you have the likes of Weller and the rest of them that are looking to come back. I don't think they're ready for round one, but they're definitely going to come and look back within that first month. But if he keeps playing the way he is, has been in the preseason, it'll be hard to drop him. and he's not playing for Chris Scott, so he should be safe from being dropped as long as he proves that he can maintain his role and do it at a high level. So I've got Constable in there. On my bench, I've got Darcy Wilmot. Looks to have that wing secure, and he didn't set the Pracky game alight. It was definitely solid. I'm looking for a 60 to 70 average from Wilmot. That'll get me the 150k I'm looking for. I've got him playing over McKenna, even though I think they're both there round one. But I think McKenna is more of a sub risk than Wilmot. Well, definitely a starting sub would be McKenna. Hopefully Wilmot does not get subbed out. But I just think he's a classy player. Fagan likes him because he keeps his width on that wing, so they can fire the ball out to him and then start that attack from the switch, which gives him plenty of opportunity to score points. But as you know, being on that wing, his points can fluctuate. He might have a high game, might have a low game. But I want that 60 to 70 average. I think he can do that and make me some money. So I've got Wilmot there. And my last mid spot is Campbell Chesser. Another winger that has his spot secured. He looks like a top talent. Again, similar to Wilmot, wasn't overly great in the practice game, but he has the role and he has the job security there, and can easily average that 60 to 70. So he's on my bench just purely to make money. When the time's right, he will go, and then that's when the Yos and the Joneses can start to go up. And I've got Constable, Jinby, and Chesser, who both have DPP, so I can switch them into the midfield if one of the midfield rookies need to go. So I've got that flexibility there, which is really handy. But I really like Chesser as an option, and looking at the defender rookies, there's not too many others that you can really go. So yeah, that's my defense. Pretty stock standard, I feel. Next, I'll move on to the midfield. A few things here have changed. The number one thing is I have Rory Laird at M1. I've had Clary there all pre-season. He's been there. I'm still looking at a variation to have Oliver, which I'll go through the end. But Rory Laird, he's the VCC option each week. Yes, I'm paying top dollar, and he's going to lose some cash. But I really wanted to lock in a definite VCC option, and I think with Oliver's draw, where he could cop a few tags, he might go a bit lower, so I could actually get him a bit cheaper. But I think Rory Laird is a bit harder to tag because he runs so hard and he has that outside game, but he also has that inside ball. I just think there's more value in Laird at the moment. Not saying Oliver's a bad pick at all, because he's definitely not, but at this stage I'm comfortable with Laird, but I'd like to have them both in. But the way my team's set up at the moment, I can't quite do that. But as I said, I'll go over what I could possibly do at the end. So yeah, no Oliver. I've got a Miller out. I've been tempted with Neil, but Bond, who has been in my side the whole time, will not be moving. He looked great on the weekend with the practice matches. Looked strong. He is obviously going to play that forward role as well, but I'm pretty happy with a 15 to 20% increase of midfield time, which I think he's going to get. I see value there. I think he can definitely go 120 plus, so there's a minimum 4 points of value there, and I just think he's a great backup to a Laird or an Oliver. and can be a VC option, mainly VC because I think Adelaide don't really have any early games, so he's a good VC option there. He's not going to move. Now this is where you'll see I've gone a little bit crazier in my midfield. So I've got Tom Green at that M3. Ideally, I would like, again, Oliver and then have Green at my M4. But I'm pretty happy with how this side is. So he's there at M3. Absolute bull. He's looking fantastic. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Is that main bull for GWS. He's going to get the ball and then handball it out to your Kellys, your Cornelios. But he's going to be the one doing the dirty work. I see him going at 110 at a minimum this year. I don't think he goes under that. So I'm picking him as a keeper. He'll be my M8 probably by season's end. So Tom Green, you are in at M3. And this is where we start to get cheaper. So I've got Jacob Hopper in here at M4. Solid over the preseason games. Solid hasn't really shown his full potential yet, but he has the role. And that's something I said with my defenders. I'm looking at the role that people have, not their scoring output, because it is a practice game at the end of the day. No one's going 100%. You'll have spurts where you do, but really everyone's going to rest a little bit more. Just take that foot off the pedal. I think Hopper averages the 90 that we need from to make 150k, and if he does that, he's just under 500k. So then it's again a rookie down and up to an Oliver or a Neil or a Miller. For me, the money is there, so I can easily make that switch. Now this one, if anyone knows Supercoach Insider and Chris, he's sort of talked me into this one. So Chris, if you're watching, you've convinced me. I got Nasiah Wanganeen Millerer. This was James Warple. It was the Warpedo, but he is an absolute butcher, and he has to work, it feels, twice as hard to get his possessions and his Supercoach points, where Miller playing off that halfback looked to take some kick-ins, which are nice, easy possessions, and he's a good user. He's a really good user of the ball by foot, and I think he can at least go 85 to 90 personally. That's why I've picked him. If I didn't think he could do that, I'd have James Warple in, but I've gone a slight riskier, cheaper pod. I'm happy with it, but depending if I change my squad around, he could definitely be taken out. Next, someone who I've been big on all preseason. He was in my squad, he was out of my squad, and he's stayed in for the last month and a little bit, and that's Finn Callaghan. He's got that wing spot, didn't play any pure mid times, he was just on that wing, but he put himself in really nice positions, and around the ground he was pushing up to the contest, so he still has the chances to get contested possessions, but he's widespread, great user, and he even popped forward a couple of times and kicked a few goals. So again, I'm not expecting him to score 110 plus. I'm looking at that 80 to 90 range. If he does that, he makes 150k, and he's up around that 400 mark. And he's definitely someone I'm looking to keep, hopefully until the buys. But if he starts off slow or drops off at certain stage, then I'm gonna get off him nice and quickly. I'm going to take a few more risks with my trades this year, so I'm not going to stick around. If you're looking like you're on a bit of a slump, you're gone. So that's the way I'm going to play this year. But Finn Callaghan, I really like his role and the way he plays, and I think he'll be a great asset. Here at M7, no surprise, Will Ashcroft. He's going to get that 75 to 85 average comfortably. He could even go 90. He has the potential. He's that Nick Dacos type that can just burst onto the scene. If you're not starting Will Ashcroft, you're sort of doing Supercoach wrong. I just like how the kid plays, and I'm super excited to see how he goes. And I think he's going to score a lot of points for us and make a lot of money, which is what we want for Supercoach. So Ashcroft in there. And then I feel like it's a little bit of deja vu, but I'm going a top selection Hawthorn rookie, and that's Cam Mackenzie. For those who don't know, Josh Ward last year came out with a big final preseason game and averaged 49.5 for the season. I think Mackenzie goes on a slightly different route. He looks great, but he's a totally different player to Ward. Mackenzie's composed. He has that good inside-outside game. He's a decent kick. He's calm. He looks calm and collected with the ball, and he actually looks for an option, just doesn't kick it. And I like him at the M8 over a Will Phillips. I think he has that more scoring potential there. And with most of their midfield gone, I think he's going to get a lot of time through there. So Mackenzie in at M8. Speaking of Phillips, he's my first bench option in there, 158k. Has the role. Him and Tom Powell look to be going 50-50 with CBAs. So what that says to me is Phillips will have his really good games, then he'll have his quieter games. But he's on my bench, so all I'm worried about is that cash generation. I don't need to have him on field, and that's perfect for me because I don't want to have him and trying to rely on his score on field. I think he can easily go 75 to 80, but I think he's more of a 65 to 75 because of how he will fluctuate. And I think Cam Mackenzie can definitely have a more stable scoring output. So that's why Phillips is on the bench and Mackenzie's on the field. But I think Phillips is a great rookie option. And again, 158k on the bench. I've had to pay up, but out of the rookies, it's the one that I like the most. Next, Oscar Baker wasn't even supposed to play in the Pracky, but a few injuries, so they're like, we'll give the kid a run. And he absolutely smashed it. I think got 119 Supercoach. Yes, he's not going to do that every week, but that wing role suits him a lot. And with the doggies playing fast and the fact that they like to spread, he can definitely get a decent amount of the ball. He's not going to score 119 every week, definitely not. Again, that's 70 average. I'd be happy with just to make that money, and he's in the Dogs' best 22. If he has some quieter games, I think he is a rotation and a sub risk. But out of all the rookies to start, I'm happy with Baker on that field. I think he is almost a must start, in my opinion. And finally, I have Alex Chincotta from Carlton. Now, I've got him on the midfield purely because he is defender mid DPP. But if he's not named and Cowan's named, Chesser will go into the midfield, and I'll have Cowan there on the bench. Chincotta look good to me. He's a 50-50 with Cowan. They both could possibly play, but I think if they both play, one will be a sub risk. So it's one we're going to have to keep an eye on. But he looked really good. Scored 70 Supercoach in the preseason game. He started off quiet, but worked into it well, and he looked really good at the end. So at a basement price, if he gets that 60 to 70, he's making 180k, possibly even 200. So be careful because he could be a sub risk, but he is a great selection otherwise. So that's my midfield done. So let's move on to the rucks then. Alright, so it moves on to the rucks. The R1 spot is a spot I've been tinkering with a fair bit. I've looked at Tim English. I'm just worried about those injuries, those niggles. He has the highest ceiling out of any ruckman, but I just don't know if he stays on the field consistently. I've looked at Sean Darcy. He's looking fit. He's looking good. Even with Jackson in, I think he has great potential. But I want someone who I can just rely on game in, game out, who I know will get me that 110, will rarely drop below 100. The number one ruck, and I've gone for Jared Witts. Played 22 games last season at an average of 109. And that's with a slow end to the year because he's had a year off with ACL, got a bit tired, didn't have that tank, and now he's had a full preseason, coming off that full year. I think he's ready to go. Could definitely be the number one ruck come the season's end. And I just don't see him missing games unless he gets injured. So touch wood, he doesn't get injured. But I feel more confident going Witts than I am English, just because English is known to get injured. So Witts it is at my R1, and then no surprise, my R2, Rowan Marshall. This bloke is going to absolutely explode. Absolutely dominated in the preseason game. Looked good. I don't see a world where Lyon plays him up forward for long periods of time. If Tom Campbell does come in, he'll just pinch hit, but Rowan Marshall has to be the number one guy. The Saints look a lot better when he's the number one guy. And he's a must. Like, he's in 53% of teams. He needs to be in more, in my opinion. Just a solid, and he's a bit cheaper. So if I'm thinking about Witts and Marshall, it's probably the closest to set and forget, in my opinion. Yes, I'm not paying for two big priced ruckmen, but it's as close to set and forget I think that we'll get. And on my bench, Nicholas Madden comes back in. I didn't like McAndrew. It was just something that I looked at as an option, but I think I'm going to go with a pure loophole, and Madden is my man at 102k with that forward swing. So that's the rucks done and dusted. Nice and quick there. It's a bit easier when there's only three spots there, but with that done, let's move on to my forward line. Alright, so moving on to the forward line, this is where things go crazy. So as you can see, I have 3 mil left over for my forward line. So no surprises. Josh Dunkley in. Could be the highest scoring Supercoach player for the year. I wouldn't be surprised. Looked absolutely incredible. Tackling, just getting the ball, clearances, using it, can go forward. I just don't see how 32% of people have not selected him. He's going to be the best value, best scoring output. It's mid-forward. It's the last time we're going to get him as a forward. You just need to pick Dunkley. There's not much I can say. If you watched our recent podcast, we speak on Dunkley and how he just throws himself into the contest even when he's on the ground. He still tries to make an impact on the game. And he's going to play pure mid alongside Neil. Get him in my opinion. So my F2, I've had Cornelio in. I didn't like what I saw, but I didn't not like what I saw. I just think I'm trying to get some more value selections in this forward line, so he's had to go, and I have Connor Rosie in there. Looked absolutely amazing. Getting that increase in CBAs, all he needs is 50% CBAs, and he can average 105 to 110. Impact player, looking good, looking fit, mid forward. It's just he's going to be an absolute gun this year, and he was someone who I haven't had in my whole preseason, but I was looking at trying to get in, and now he's a mainstay at my F2. Next, Tim Taranto, someone who actually went out of my side because I was trying to get these value selections, and before the last practice match, in my opinion, Dunkley, Rosie, and Canelo were the top three midfielders. So if I had to drop one, it would have been Tim Taranto. But he's made his way back into my side. It's hard not to pick him. Yes, he's a butcher, but in that Richmond side, he's getting plenty of it. 60 to 70% CBAs. He can go forward. He can kick goals. He's looking really hungry around the contest. He can easily go at 105, 110. He could go even more if he learns how to kick it. And I think he's a great value selection, underpriced. So it's hard not to have him in. Next, we're going to scroll down to the Golden Child, Errol Goulden. 190 Supercoach points in the practice match. Yes, Mills wasn't playing, so he's not going to get the 80% CBAs that he got, but if he gets 50 to 60, he's averaging 105, 110 with ease. He can go forward, score goals, and when he goes forward, he might be on that half forward and push up to the contest anyway, so he doesn't need those CBAs. His role could be, if I'm forward, all right, there's a stoppage on the wing, I'm pushing up, I'm getting that ball out, and we're going forward. And he won't have to worry about being Mr. Fix-It, because that's Callum Mills' job. And Luke Parker's come out and said he's going to get more mid-time, which means Parker and Goulden will probably rotate through that midfield and forward between each other. So this is purely a breakout selection. I think he's top 6 to 8 forward come season's end. So I'm picking him to stay. Next, I have Jack Zeeble. He looks to have that role that he had a couple years ago, taking kick-outs, playing that central defender role. The ball's going to go through him to get out. It's hard not to select him, in my opinion. Now, everyone has their opinion, and they might go, okay, he was great, but then Hall came in and he dropped. That's fine. I'm not picking him to be a stayer. If he turns out to be a stayer, that's great. He can stay in my side for as long as he wants. But really, all I'm looking for is that 90 average, and then I can easily move him on to maybe a DPP option later in the year. So all I need is 100 to 150k from Jack Zeeble, and then he'll be straight out of my side. Here's one person that definitely could come out of my side, which I'll get to very soon, but at the moment I've got him at F5. And my F6, I have Nat Five, someone who I was big on early. Everyone was big on early. Oh, Nat Five, 313k. He's a must. And they were like, oh no, he's playing pure forward. Get him out. But what I saw on the weekend is even when there's a stoppage in that forward half, he's around that stoppage. So he's basically playing midfield, but in the forward line. When there's stoppages down there, he's still getting the ball out and extracting in that forward half. Yes, he might need to kick a couple goals a game, and he might not do that every game. That's fine. All I want is a 90 average. It's the same as Zeeble. I want that 90 average. And I think the way Freo play and how they're trying to get that forward pressure and create stoppages, I think that's where Fife will get a majority of his points. All he needs is 15 to 20 disposals and kick a goal or two, and then you've got your 90 points. I have had Tanner Bruin in there, but I'm not sure if he is best 22. But at the moment, I've gone Fife, and I don't really see him moving. I like his role as much as I don't like it. So he's going to stay there. And yes, 313k at F6 is absolutely insane. But if we move to the bench, I do have rookies on the bench. Don't worry. I've got Fergus Green, 123k. Looks to have that Gunston role, that third big, that third tall, sorry. If Mitch Lewis comes back, I think Green keeps his spot and he becomes that F4, which even helps him even more. Is a very versatile forward, agile, has a really good goal sense, knows what he's doing, can easily average you that 60 to 70, and that's why he's in my side. I really like him as a pick. And my last one is Alwyn Davey Jr., mid forward. Similar to his dad, very smart football brain, very quick. He's usually plays as a midfielder. He's done that all through his juniors. Unfortunately, he is going to play that forward role, but is it going to be a half forward and then push up? If he does that, he has more consistent scoring. But I just think at 117k, looking at the other forward rookies, he's the best at around his price. I don't really want to go up to an Asava or a McLean or a Sheasel on my bench. So Davey there, I think he can get that 60 to 70 average, and again make that 150k. So that is my completed team. Let me just tease this, because at times it can be a bit nuts. So that's my side at the moment, and I'll quickly go through the changes I could make. Alright, so looking at my side here, there's a few things that I could do. So what that is, Miller would go. Golden would go. And Zeeble would, you guessed it, go. Okay, and then what I would do is, in my forward line, I'd scroll all the way down to about here. Where is he? At 256k. Come on, Sammy. Where are you? Sam Flanders would go in to my forward line and play the F5 spot. And then to finish off, someone who I spoke about not having on the bench would be Harry Sheasel. Could put him in there. And if you look at my remaining salary, I go into the midfield and I get myself a Mr. Clary Oliver. So let me save that, just so it auto loads in. And this would be my side. Now, the midfield looks better to me. I'm not going risky with Miller. I've got that Oliver in there. Unfortunately, my forwards take a bit of a hit. Flanders, I think, looked good. Playing that high half forward, pushing into the contest. Didn't get any CBAs, and I don't think he will, but he showed that he can score. So I really like him as a selection. And Harry Sheasel looks good up forward. They switched him to defence, and he looked good and comfortable in there. And he looks to be one of those players that are going to get you a goal and a bit of game. So that's the change I could make. I still have 25k, so if I need to move a Chincona to Cowan, I can still do that. And with this team, I've got that definite VC and C in Laird and Oliver there. So that's what I'm between. So in the comments section below, tell me which version do you like better. Do you like this version with the main two mids, or do you prefer the risky golden pick along with Zeeble? So let me know in the YouTube comments below, but those are the two options I'm going for with my side. Okay, so that's going to do me today. What did you think of my side? Which version do you prefer? Let me know in the YouTube comments below, but that's most likely the team I'm going to go with into this season. It's the team that is going to win the $50,000 and $1,000 each round. Okay, so $73,000 in total. That's what this team is going to do. Before I sign off, don't forget we have the Breakevens Unlimited group 432856, trying to get 150 in there, as I said earlier. So make sure you join. Again, 432856 is the code. And if you want to contact us, you can hit us up on Twitter at BreakevensPod. Trying to hit 500 followers on there, so give us a nice follow to keep up with all of our content. And on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, search Breakevens, and you'll find us there. Trying to hit 200 subs there, so each sub is helpful and helps us grow and reach more people, which we're trying to do. We're trying to help you all out. So that's it. So thank you all again for watching and listening on Apple Podcast and on YouTube. And until next time, it's bye for now.